back, everyone, to Gen Z Unfiltered. I'm your host for today, Amrit, and we're going to be talking about a really interesting thing today. We have Ishkirat and Simran as usual, but we also have Roop joining us for today's special episode. So without further ado, I'll bring them onto the screen.
Hi. Hi, Drew.
All right.
How's it going?
Good. How's everyone doing?
Good. I am wearing a hoodie too today, just so you guys know.
Yeah, Hoodie Squad. You're officially part of Gen Z now.
I'm officially, Gen Z. My daughter is Gen Alpha, and she told me that last time, very proudly so. She's like, I'm not Gen Z. I am too young to be Gen Z. And I think Gen Z is young for me. I'm thinking that you guys are young. And she goes to me, Gen Z's too old for me, Mama. I am Gen Alpha.
Wow, I feel old now.
The Alpha part, and we got Gen Z. I would want to be called Gen Alpha. That sounds so cool.
Yeah, they sound like so elite.
Yeah.
All right. So the topic we're talking about today might be a little bit sensitive for some of the viewers. Just a heads up, it can be a little bit triggering. We are talking about body image, so it's your choice if you want to continue or not, but we will just have a light conversation about our experience with body image, whether it was positive or negative, and how we can be kind to ourselves. So let's get started. Let's start with Simran. What does body image mean to you? What is your personal definition of it?
I think body image is how you perceive yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror, and how confident you feel about yourself. And I think it's also associated with how you think other people perceive you. And I think it's all a matter of confidence and how willing you are to really flaunt what you have. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I really like the way you put it. Ishkirat?
I'd have to 100% agree. Body image is what you think of yourself. And unfortunately, it does have now a lot to do with some comments that other people have maybe made to you, or something, or how you think other people perceive you. I know personally, sometimes I will have times where I'm really proud of how I look, or I'm flaunting, as Simrit says, what I have, but I will be concerned at what are other people thinking of me, which is unfortunate, but it has become a part of body image.
Yeah, I agree. Roop, do you want to add anything?
I am here just to listen to you guys and just pitch in whenever I have something extra to add. But yes, I agree. Body image is how you look at yourself, how you perceive what you see in the mirror. So it's not just about what other people think of you. It's about what you think of yourself as well. I'm going to let you guys have the conversation. Whenever I have something to say, I'm going to raise my hand and pitch in, okay?
All right, those are some very well put definitions, I'd say, and I have to agree with every single one of them. How has your guys' experience with your body image been, if you're comfortable talking about it? Is it overall positive, negative, and where do you stand right now? Simran?
I think overall, I've had a pretty positive experience with my own body image. I want to say middle school is when I started really realizing that body image was even a thing, because up to that point, I was just a human in my body and my skin. I was fine with however I looked. But that's when people's opinions, you start hearing them and you maybe let them get to you. But after I was in high school, I think they're eating disorders, such thing as those depressed, you eat because you're depressed or anxious or whatever. And I think during high school, there was a time where I was struggling with body image, but I learned it doesn't really matter how I look. I think I got a little overweight, and I think I let that affect my self-esteem for some time. But when I look back, I'm I was perfectly fine, and I think that just happens with growth and confidence. So, but as of right now, and I'm planning to keep it like this for the rest of my life, but how I perceive my body image is pretty positive up to this point.
I've had a lot of ups and downs with my body image. I think the first encounter I really had of it in terms of what others perceive of me was in grade 6. So I used to have a unibrow, and somebody pointed it out in grade 6, and it made me so self-conscious that I like convinced my mom, like, I want to start getting my eyebrows done. Now I don't regret getting my eyebrows done, and now I get them done because I like them, not because someone else has a problem with it. But I think at that point, at such a young age, it shouldn't have affected me. And it's unfortunate that it did. And like, even today, I am on the heavier side, right? And that's not a bad thing. But even just in our own culture, in our own families, sometimes people start pointing it out, which makes me personally like self-conscious, right? And it doesn't even have to be big. Like, I am happy. I'll just be happy with who I am and what I'm doing, and I'll just walk out somewhere and someone will make one minor comment, which to them I'd be like, you have no right to say anything about me. But in my head, I'm like, do people really think of me like that? Like, I do want to be perceived as a good person by others. And body hair, I think, is so huge, like especially for females. Why does someone else get to decide whether we keep body hair or not? That is our own choice, whether we're comfortable with it or not. You can remove it if you'd like. I remove mine, obviously. I remove my hair because I like it, not because it's anybody else's business. And if somebody's confident with their hair and they like how it is, then it's their business and it's their responsibility. They respect their own hair, so no one else can have an opinion about that. That's my opinion. And it's like, little girls today go through so much with body image just at a young age, being like ripped apart by others on just minor things.
Yeah, so you guys made some really valid points. I had a similar experience too, many ups and downs, but right now I'd say it's pretty positive. I love myself, I love my body, and if anyone has a problem with it, that's on them, right? But that provides a perfect segue into the next thing. So just to elaborate a little bit more on other people's opinions, Simrit, how do
a point to make?
Okay.
I'll add on to what Ishkirat said about body hair. So I've seen a lot of young girls experience, especially in the South Asian community, young girls experience bullying because of body hair, unibrow, or whether it's upper lip. They've heard a lot of things in school or middle school, especially when they're 11 years old, 12 years old. These are the conversations that happen in school, in the schoolyard, in the playgrounds, and they come home and they talk to their parents about it. And unfortunately, in our families, they don't get that supportive response from parents that they expect. So there's always that disconnect, the message that they're getting in the school, a message they're getting outside, and when they come home, they're not allowed to shave their legs, they're not allowed to remove the body hair. So how do you deal with that? And can you speak to that?
Yeah, so I actually experienced the same thing as Ishkirat. That I had a problem with my body hair too, and I was like, Mom, I need to get rid of it, but I wasn't allowed, right? And for a whole chunk of middle school, I just had to deal with everyone's opinions and bullying and everything. And I kind of kept to myself, and I was like, okay, whatever, they're saying what they're saying. But then when I was able to finally start shaving, then I kind of felt better about myself. But now I realize that it shouldn't have been that way. I'm okay with it now. Like right now, I haven't shaved my unibrow. I don't care, right? Like it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not something I really take into serious consideration anymore. But yeah, in our community, definitely, I think the whole shaving aspect needs to be changed a little bit. That if a girl is feeling uncomfortable, first of all, help her feel comfortable with herself. You have to help her understand that her body hair is not the problem, but the people who make it a problem are the issue. And even if then she wants to shave, she should be allowed, because that's how she feels about herself. If she wants to feel comfortable without the hair, then I think especially South Asian moms need to start understanding that it should be okay, because that's how she feels happy about her body. So Simran, I just want to ask you, you did talk about it a little bit about other people's opinions, but how do you think it's affected you overall? And what are some things you can do to combat negative thoughts about your body image?
Yeah, so I experienced the same thing as you and me and Ishkirat. I was very hairy as a kid, and I still am, obviously, but I did feel very embarrassed, especially when I started playing sports, during middle school, like we would get school uniforms, right? So we would wear shorts, like basketball shorts or whatever, and I would feel so embarrassed. And looking back, like Amrit said, if I could talk to myself when I was younger, I would say it doesn't matter, because it really doesn't. If your body hair or however the way you look your appearance bothers someone else, that's their problem, not yours. And so if I ever need to deal with negative opinions about my own body image, I'm gonna just tell myself that, like Amrit said, that's not my problem. If it's making you uncomfortable, that is your problem, not mine, and I can do whatever I want to do with my body, the clothes I choose to wear. That's up to me, because at the end of the day, it is my body. And I like telling myself that, you know how there's a saying like, take care of your body because it's your temple, right? It's like, if it's your temple, you can decide how to design your temple. So that includes body hair, any clothing, like the way you keep your hair, like what color you want to keep it, you know what I mean? Like, that's up to you. So no one's opinion should affect how you choose to make yourself look like.
Yeah, that's some really solid advice, I'd say. Ishkirat, when it comes to negative thoughts on yourself, have you ever had any thoughts in your own mind saying you're not good enough, you don't look like this, you don't look like that, you should do this, you shouldn't do that? How do you deal with it, and how do you advise other people to deal with those thoughts?
Something to just like add to the body hair part, first of all. I'll get onto the negativity part as well. But I think people should be able to choose what they do with their hair, what with their hair. Like, I should not be told that, hey, you're hairy, so you should have it removed. I should be, hey, I would rather remove the hair than keep it, so I'm going to make that decision. Like, going off with the South Asian mothers and maybe not allowing it, for me, my mother had me keep my hair for a bit, so I wasn't getting rid of it because somebody told me it was bad for me, but so that I made the decision that I would rather not have it. Like, I would never go back to having the unibrow. I like having my eyebrows done. It makes me feel great. But I wouldn't have had them done if there was not that one kid who pointed it out, like, hey, you have a unibrow. So it should have been my choice. I think that's the only regret I have in this process. But it should have been my choice, not because somebody pointed it out. And of course, people will always point things out, and that affects my self-esteem. That brings in those negative thoughts. People will always point things out because you can't please everyone, but people will try to perfect you, even if no one is meant to be perfect. Our imperfections are what make us so unique. And that builds into self-esteem. Somebody telling me that my body hair or my body weight is a problem to them somehow makes it my problem. And I don't want that to happen. My self-esteem comes from me. I want to remind myself that I am enough, I am confident, and no one else should be telling me how I live my life, because at the end of the day, the decisions I make affect me and me only. So if someone else really is so involved in my life, they should come and pay my bills and everything too. Or they can keep it to themselves. So with the negativity, how I deal with it is I remind myself that this is about me. You won't be able to make everybody happy at all times. And again, remembering how much my body does for me. I'm taking Bio 30 right now. So we learned so much about the cool things our body does to make sure that we're healthy and we're running. So if we're really treating our body like this place, like, hey, this isn't perfect, that is unfair to everything our body does for us. So I guess to battle people bringing down my self-esteem and to battle that negativity, I remind myself why I'm great, which is easier said than done. But I do want to practice it and keep practicing it. What about you, Amrit? How do you deal with the negativity?
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as both of you, just remembering, like, hey, I am enough, and that, yeah, my body does so much for me, and I'm grateful for it, right? And like, everyone's unique. Like you said, nobody can be perfect, and there's no one typical way to be, right? If there's a skinny person and a heavier person, like, there's neither of them are the right way to be. They're both human. They're both the way they are. And if they're comfortable with it, that's awesome, right? Like nobody should have opinions on other people. And even if you criticize yourself about your body image, just remember at the end of the day, you're the only one who's going to be dealing with those thoughts, and you're the only one who's going to see your body die in your body. And so if you have to remember, you have to make yourself happy first before you make other people happy. And so that's just how I deal with it. We talked about how as South Asian women, we face so many challenges with body hair and body image. And we've talked about how other people's opinions affect us as well. But there's a lot more to it than that, correct? The factor of social media, magazines, that perfect Caucasian model body all fits into it as well. And I really want to know, what do you guys think about filters and face editing apps and all that? How does that make you feel? And when do you think it'll stop? Simrit?
I just want to say that whatever you see on social media is fake, like 100% fake. You can see a picture of like just a selfie, like, and there's like 3 filters on it that you don't even know about. Like, it's crazy how everything looks so modified, and it's expected, like that's how you're expected to look like in real life. It honestly doesn't even make any sense. And like I have a little sister, and obviously Roop, you have a daughter, so you can relate. But I do not want my sister and my little cousins like growing up looking at stuff like that, thinking this is how I'm supposed to look. So I think it's very important, especially in our community as well, because I don't think we talk about this too much, especially parents to kids. We don't, like, no one sits down with us and tells us this is all fake. How you are is perfectly fine. They don't, like, we don't really learn about self-love as much as we should. But I think it's really important, like going forward, when we're talking about the next generation, like it is very important to let them know that this is not real life, and it's okay. Like the way you look is completely perfect.
Yeah, I agree. I really felt that part about the younger generation. I do not want them to grow up thinking that I have to be a certain way. The way I look now is not it, right? Like it's not good enough for people to look at. And it's just so disgusting. And I think it really needs to be changed. And one strategy I'd say that I think of is it has to stop with us, right? Like even me, like when I post on social media, I do use filters, I use editing, I use all that stuff because again, I don't want to post this original face onto there because what will people think, right? But I think it starts with us. And the next time we post, we really need to think about, do I put that filter on or do I not? And what does it mean if I don't? If I don't, it means I love myself and I'm telling everyone out there that this is my body, this is my face, and it looks amazing just the way it is, right? So I think we really have to start breaking it down individually too. But yeah, Ishkirat, what do you think about all that?
First off, Amrit, you saying you don't want to put all your this on the internet. You are beautiful, and if someone wants to try and tell you any less, they can come pay for your tuition.
That goes for everyone.
Exactly. If someone really has that, like, such strong feelings against how you look, they should come invest more of their own money and time into your life, then you can live a better life yourself. But the social media, I would 100% agree with what Simrit said. It's all a lie. Like, nowadays it's actually quite popular even on TikTok where models show how they actually look versus how their edited pictures look. And they're totally different. Like there's those stretch marks, for example. We don't see those in the Instagram pictures. And Amrit, as you said, like you using filters in your Instagram posts, I do as well. Like I do not really look exactly like that in reality. Everywhere we see like models, it's all just filters to make skin clear, to fix the shape of the body. And what's so funny is that every part of the world has different beauty standards. So like in the Western world, in America and Canada, where tan skin is actually like, hey, you should have tan skin, it's way prettier. Or having like a curvier body is not recommended, but I can't think of the exact word, but it's supported. As for if you are to go to India, for example.
Exotic. It's exotic. So
Exotic, yeah. And as soon as you go down to India, they're like, oh, you should have fair skin. You should be skinny. So again, you can't make everyone happy, and that should never be your goal. Everyone has different standards, and everyone's just trying to perfect us from their own view. And it doesn't matter what their view is. What matters is what my view is. And my view is that I think I'm perfect or imperfectly perfect, and that's all that matters. Social media is a lie, it should not be believed. Like the number of times where I'll feel confident with myself and I'll be bored and I'll go on Instagram and see someone like really dressed up, looking really pretty with some really flawless skin, and it'll just make me like unhappy. Use of makeup. The number of times when you put on makeup in real life, it does not look so flawless either. People even touch up makeup with filters to post. I can go on about this for a very long time. I don't think one episode is enough to cover just even my thoughts.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, go ahead, Simran.
Go ahead. Okay, thanks. I think the makeup thing is very interesting because my personal experience with it, I never used to wear it all middle school. Grade 10 I didn't wear either, and then starting grade 11 I felt like a need to wear it. I don't know what it was, just one day I woke up and I'm like, nope, I can't go to school without putting makeup on. And then I graduated and I'm like, why did I do that to myself? Why did I ruin my skin? Why did I wake up half an hour early just to put on makeup? It was so stupid but at the same time I'm like, if I want to wear makeup and it makes me feel good about myself, I'm wearing it for myself. I want to look good for myself. So, I mean, it's just all a matter of fact. It's the matter of fact is just loving yourself. That's it. And I also think what Ishkrit and Roop mentioned about like the exotic stereotype that Western culture really appreciates. I think that it's like so picky because it's like you have to, like, they want you to be skinny but not too skinny, and they want you to have curves but not too many curves. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, it's all a matter of how you really perceive yourself. That's it.
The Barbie standard. The 36, 24, 36. That's not even healthy, man.
Yeah, it's not. It's so unrealistic. Like, even when we see celebrities like Kim Kardashian comes to mind, but you know what I mean? It's like toxic for even kids our age to look at it, right? Like, I'm 18 now, but I don't think it was right that I would see that kind of stuff on the internet when I was 13, 14, thinking, oh, this is how I'm supposed to look when I'm an adult, because that's not how real life works. That was like $1 million worth of surgery, you know? Like, that's not how like natural bodies are, and natural bodies are beautiful. So you should just embrace yourself. That's all.
I think about little kids, like 5, 6, 7-year-old girls and boys that go to the toy store even. They see rows and rows of dolls, all one figure, one skin type. They all have makeup. They all need to be a certain way. These little girls grow up playing with dolls that look like that typical model that society has told us that we need to look like. So what do you guys think about that? What should be done about it? Like, why do we teach our little girls that they have to be fair skinned, they have to be pretty, and the only way to do that is to change how they look? How can that be combated?
So, like I said, I have a little sister, and you know, like, when we're playing with her Barbies, like, she's like, oh, look how pretty she looks, and I say, they're all pretty, you know? Like, I try putting, because sometimes I feel like when you hear a kid say something like, oh, that's ugly, or you know what I mean, you just disregard it because you're thinking, well, it is ugly in your opinion, right? So you're saying it's okay, like, she's just a kid, she doesn't know what she's saying, or it's not that important. But when I hear things like that from her, I put like all my effort in saying, no, everyone's beautiful, everyone's this. Even today, literally like half an hour before we got on call, I was sitting with my mom and my sister, and my mom was saying, oh, I have a scar on my leg, I don't really like my leg, but Simmer, your legs are really nice. And I was like, what about my legs? And I said, all 3 of our legs are perfect, everyone's legs are perfect, you know? Like, you can't let them even think for a second that someone is ugly or fat or whatever those words that society has put into our heads. I think that's really important, just telling them that everyone is beautiful just the way they are. And I think kids are really, like, they're so genuine and sweet. They don't come into the world thinking, like, judging people, right? So whatever you tell them is what they're gonna learn. Like, they're sponges, they're gonna absorb whatever you tell them.
It's role modeling too, right? I agree with what Simran just said. Just having confidence in your own self, having confidence in your own body is what the younger people are going to see. That would include you as well, because someone like me, if I come here and tell you that I am not happy with my body, I don't like this about my body, that is going to impact you as well, right? So it's not just my daughter, it's not just 9-year-olds. You're looking at me and my daughter and your sister, perhaps they're looking at you. So there's always that next generation of women, or men too, or boys too. Why not? They're all looking up to you. So I think it's a responsibility, or more of a responsibility, an ethical responsibility. I feel that consistently I need to respect my body because I want my daughter to respect hers. So
Yeah.
I need to like who I am because I want her to like who she is. And I wear glasses. I don't wear contacts. And that is a conscious choice. When I was growing up, consistently I was told not to wear glasses because that's the messaging you get from, even in the South Asian families. My grandma would used to tell me, no one's going to marry you. No one likes anyone with glasses. And in Bollywood movies, or you watch, or even in Western movies, anyone who's wearing glasses, when they have to go through a makeover, the glasses come off. And all of a sudden, they're this hot person with perfect skin and perfect hair and perfect body, and they're beautiful, and they're not wearing glasses. So that's something that I struggled with briefly when my grandma used to tell me. And at that time, I didn't have a very high prescription, so I didn't wear glasses when I went out. But I never liked wearing contacts. That was something I didn't like. My eyes felt dried out, and I had to put in an effort to poke my eyes every morning and clean those contacts. I was not comfortable with it. And I don't judge anyone who uses contacts. If they are comfortable, yes, go ahead. I mean, you were happy with it, good for you. But I wasn't personally happy with it. And eventually, gradually, slowly, I became comfortable with me wearing glasses. And now I wear glasses all the time. If I'm wearing Indian suit, I'll wear glasses. If I'm wearing, I'm at the gym, I'm wearing glasses. If I'm here, I'm wearing glasses because I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in my own skin. And when it comes to makeup, I will wear makeup on days when I feel like I want some pick me up. I want to look a little bit different than I normally do. But majority of times I will not wear makeup. I like wearing lipsticks because I like wearing lipsticks, not because someone else told me I need to wear lipsticks. So those are they're very minor. And I'm so glad that you understand that at such a young age. And I look forward, I hope that my daughter would be exactly like you are at this age, where you know that what anyone tells you, or whatever is thrown at you from external sources, does not define you. You define you. So you look in the mirror, you like that person who's in the mirror. And yes, of course, if you want to make yourself look different, make yourself look better, do what makes you happy. And I'm so glad that you guys are already there.
Honestly, I feel like as we keep talking, I keep having stuff I want to add, like in my mind. I think we need to make a part 2 of this. With
every question and every point, we just keep opening more and more doors to this.
Some people are so talented. They're like, oh, you wear too much makeup, you're catfish. I'm like, it's not their fault that you thought that they were like born with golden eyelids or blue eyelids.
And just because like someone looks overweight, it doesn't mean that they're not taking care of themselves, because they might have a super healthy diet and they might be moving around as much as they can, but there could be an underlying issue in genetics or hormones, or they have a lower metabolism.
I think it's, even for people like myself, reverberating messaging that we're receiving from, whether it's media or social media, anywhere outside, is consistently the same, that you have to be, no matter how old you are, even if you've had a child, you can't have stretch marks, you can't have that pooch, you can't have that belly. It's consistently that messaging. But after you've had a baby, after you've gone through, you've literally pushed, I have said this in another episode, you pushed a human being out of your body. How do you expect your body to look like a 19-year-old's body who hasn't gone through that trauma? We all have those moments of weakness or moments of self-doubt. It's very natural to have that, right? To question who we are, to question how we look. It's very natural to have that. So even if you get those moments of self-doubt, don't be harsh on yourself either in that moment either, that why am I thinking like that, why am I not strong enough, why am I letting these thoughts come to me. Let those thoughts come to you, process those thoughts, and they will go away because you deal with them in a healthy manner.
I 100% agree. It's really easy to say don't be insecure, but practicing that and putting that into practice is very difficult.